this point to stay as calm as possible. Because when I say the disrespect my community has faced, and I have witnessed across multiple lives for multiple days. So for everybody in there saying there's been accountability, there's been an apology, no, the fuck there hasn't, to some very specific people. Now, when we got up in that live about Kay, we're not even going to get into that because we got into that for 8 hours. When I waited my turn to ask Nugs, understand that maybe you were in over your head, not in the first place. However, maybe you were in over your head. Maybe you didn't understand the community that you were trying to mediate between. I'm Indigenous. I'm just fucking white about it. Sorry about it. Be about it. Anyway, when I asked what you plan to do to educate yourself about the community that you offended to ensure that that didn't happen again on the app or off the app, you spoke in circles, refused to answer. And when my sister tried to hold you accountable for the way that she was treated on your live, you didn't even have the decency to make eye contact. You went off and did something off screen, and then you used your white privilege to flee the fucking conversation and left us all there fighting. So like my issue, like I get it, Lance is a piece of shit. Cool, we tried to hold him accountable. We weren't allowed to. So then
Hold
the
on,
next day.
Anna, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just noticing the comment section. I saw Black Crystal and a plethora of other Black women are trying to get you to address comments you allegedly made about the Black community.
I'll address that.
Can I say what I have to say? Because then I have
Nuggets, go ahead. You go first, and then Anna, you address those comments because I want to make sure Black women are heard. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Nuggets. Go ahead.
Okay. So I sat here thinking about what I said to Aunt Karen in the apology that I just issued, and I have to admit something. I asked you a question because I thought it was the right question to ask, and that is, should I, as a white woman, hold a Black woman accountable? And Aunt Karen, I apologize to you out of ego. And what happened in that live, or what, the situation that happened, and that is putting myself in between two Black women, and that is something I cannot do.
Wow.
Nuggets, that's why I had said I didn't accept the apology to begin with, because I knew you were doing it out of ego, and I'm glad that you can sit here and say it. It obviously it doesn't change the original intent, right? I'm glad that you see it, you're doing it. But at the end of the day, that's what we're tired of. Black people are tired of when white people get pushed in the corner. It's a throwback apology that don't really mean nothing.
And I don't want to do that. And that is why I had to come and admit that.
All right, so for everyone that said that everything froze after she said the word ego, she basically is insinuating or saying that she apologized not for the intent to feel like she's doing the right thing or is doing the right thing. She did it for her own personal gain or for her own personal image, aka her ego. That is what Nuggets is saying. Just want to put that out there because it froze after you said the word ego, so a lot of people missed that part. So I just wanted to reiterate that part. I apologize, guys. Go ahead.
And with that, I'm going to leave, but I'll continue to listen. But I cannot, as a white person, be in between two Black women. I don't have any authority to do that whatsoever, and nor will I do that. So thank you for having me on.
All right, baby. All right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I'll address the comments really quick. So first of all, I'm Canadian. I'm from the great white north. So what had happened?
Hello?
Not the Drake albums. Shout out to Canada.
Yeah, so basically what had happened at that point is I had been in there on my own for 9 hours. Why is it echoing?
Only me _Pam. Exit, come back in. You're echoing back.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Got
so I had been in there for 9 hours. And like at this point, you have to understand. So we have been repeatedly trying to explain what is disrespectful, how it is disrespectful, and we're being talked over. We're being told it's anti-black. And like we have a whole Afro-Indigenous community. How are you telling them they're anti-black? Like it's just no, man. So we're in there talking, and I had said in the original live, the problem was whether or not Lance's girlfriend is black, he is an indigenous man, right? So the second that went on his platform, that's our responsibility to deal with. Now he turned coat and went and tried to hide behind the black community. Now, I understand that that's not how you guys say that down there. I took accountability and apologized for that. What I meant was that's literally what he tried to do. Like we cast him out and he ran to find somebody else. Like that's what he did. I did not insult black people or the black community in general.
Anna,
He's
you
heated as
did.
fuck.
Anna,
I know, but I
I know that.
apologize because I don't know the terminology properly. So I did say
Yeah,
that.
no,
Like I
it
don't
wasn't.
quite know that.
That's not what you said, though. That's not the terminology that was used. I get that you guys, like all of you guys, were upset. I get that Auntie Slip was upset. You had every right to be. But after Nuggets left that live, sorry, my voice is shaking. After Nuggets left that live, and you were around black people that were consoling you guys, giving you the space to speak about whatever you wanted to, not trying to speak over you guys, trying to understand what the term white passing means for you guys. What came out of
Mm-hmm.
your mouth is that you felt like the black community protected Lance. You said he got protected by Nuggets, the white woman, and the black community was protecting him. And I kept
Yeah,
saying
I
from the
know.
comments that's anti-black because that's not what was happening.
I know. And that I apologize for because like I said, up here, it's not something we are really a community I'm used to being very much in. So like, yeah, that's a fuck up. That I won't do again. Um, but that's what I meant by that is I felt like he did that. And again, he's nowhere to be found. So the problem is now at this point, and this is where I really want to focus because there's so much hurt going on in both communities, and there's two marginalized communities now like at each other's throats over this shit, right? So the world moves on really quick, and what happens is there's a festering wound that's just left open. If we sit here, talking about he did this, and he's never going to be held accountable. And you saw right there, like Nugs didn't even address that the second time. That's where my frustration comes from. Like you can only be patient for so long, right? So that's not like it's never going to be a thing, and that's cool. But
and
it was a serious discussion.
I'm sorry, Anna. I apologize, baby. I want to say this. I want to make this very clear. This aspect or this part of that conversation that happened the past 2 days, I'm not familiar with. I don't know what Anna did, or so much what Nuggets and Ray did initially. This is me finding out for the first time between tonight and today on both of those lives, respectfully. I don't know a lot of what's going on. I'm just going to keep it a buck because I was trying to take a personal break from this app because I've been swatted like a million gazillion times already. So I'm not, you get what I'm saying? I'm not picking sides. I'm not silencing everybody. I want every fucking person involved as much as possible to come on and speak their piece. Even if you don't agree with it, even if I don't agree with it, everyone deserves a chance to speak. So please respect every fucking human soul in this box, Anna included, or you will be muted and blocked. Stop coming up in
Because
the comment section, antagonizing her and disrespecting her. Hold her accountable, yes. But I saw some disrespectful ass comments in the comment section. Y'all motherfuckers putting LMFAO in the motherfucking comment section. Bitch, don't sit here and act like I can't fucking mute you with the fucking quickness. You like it here, bitch. It's popping here. Watch your mouth. Y'all must have forgot what the fuck. You know what? Let me stop. Go ahead, Anna. Go ahead.
So the other thing is like I'm not gonna drop names on this. We have receipts on all this. Like the people saying that the lies and that no, we caught all the lies. Like the lies happened on certain people. There was a whole conversation, and I'm gonna say this because this was yesterday, and this was so wrong. Somebody decided to educate a Southwest Native American woman who's highly educated on the fact that the Navajo people had slaves after emancipation in front of everybody, in front of 1,000 people. And when the indigenous people were like, yo, no, first of all, we weren't even people at that time. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a thing. A quick Google search will tell you that's not a thing. She was allowed to continue. So when I say the real harm happening to my community, and like every community right now, and it's festering, and it's a big problem because there's a lot of people up having conversations that they have no business having. And there's been a lot of about us without us going on. So yes, I will take accountability for misphrasing. That's something I'm working on. But I can only work on it so much while I'm vibrating. I was sitting there with COVID for 9 hours, fighting my fucking ass off. And again, we get no accountability. And now I just want to say to Shar, who's up there, because I know Shar was in that live too. I did correct on it right away, yes. But I'm not saying anything about everybody else who was up in that box. When I say we were disrespected, I'm talking about 3 specific fucking people, because we got so much support and love in that live. Space was held for us. There's been friendships formed after. We're going to have a discussion on it on Friday night because we feel like it's an important conversation that needs to be had about privilege in these communities, about terminology, about how the global community looks at this kind of stuff. And this is an opportunity to do some like educating and healing, which clearly needs to happen between 2 communities who don't know enough about each other, obviously. But what we don't need to do is keep having people who have no business sharing information up speaking for everybody else. Like, I'm not going to sit up and try to educate on Black issues. I don't fucking know them. I need to learn more about them for sure. But like, especially from being up here, we don't have a lot of that. And I watched the lack of understanding of the indigenous community. And it's simple things that, like, if we don't know it's disrespectful to you and you don't know it's disrespectful to us, how quick it is for everybody to get offended and stop listening and start reacting. And then these people who've done this, who are never going to take accountability properly, they're really not, are just going to walk away and get paid off it straight to the bank. And we have 2 damaged communities who are trying to decolonize individually and together. And that's what I really want to try to pull this back to.
And I agree. And I want to say this real quick respectfully, because you are a woman of color, you are an indigenous woman, but I have to,
I'm not a woman of color.
Yeah, woman of color, yes. I want to.
She said she's not a woman of color.
I'm not. I'm indigenous, but I am liquid paper.
I'm not a woman of color. I apologize. So as an indigenous woman, I'm going to say respectfully, I'm going to piggyback off of what Black Crystal said. Don't talk about us. Does that make sense? We sit here as Black people, we always sit here and say, stay out of Black folk business, stay out of Black folk business. And just like I Speak and Ebony said the other day, we got to have that same respect for indigenous people. And we have. At least I feel overall we tried to, or at least did the best we could. So if we got to sit here and say, stay out of Black folk business, we going to stay out of indigenous folk business. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So that's all. And I'm not saying that in a
we say nothing about us without us. That's our thing.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And I want to make sure that, again, I'm trying to give as many people a voice as possible, whether you agree with them or not. I want to make sure Anna has a voice. I want to make sure everyone in the comment section has a voice. Aunt Karen eating her damn cheese noodles has a voice. Make sure Shar with the nice glasses and the profile picture got a voice. I'm trying to make sure everyone is heard and everyone is seen. I'm not sitting here picking sides. I'm not sitting here doing this, that, and the third. I want to make sure everyone is heard because, again, I'm not, in my opinion, I think low of myself. I don't think I'm good at hosting lives like that, but I'm trying to be the best version of myself while holding these type of conversations possible. So I want to make sure everyone is heard. All right? That's all. My bad.
You're doing a really good job, by the way. It's not a good position to be in for anybody.
I appreciate it.
And I wanted to say something to Black people too, because I do agree that Anna, I can understand why her and a few other indigenous people were upset with the lives that were being held afterwards. Just because the term white passing, white identifying means something to us in the Black community it means something else to the indigenous community. My grandfather passed for white like intentionally all his life from 1910 until he died in 1989, intentionally for his safety. In America, as people of color, we don't have to do that now. However,
Shar, you just went out. Shar.
She got a call?
Or she has Burger King Wi-Fi. It could be one of the two. You never know. And I'm not judging the Burger King Wi-Fi. I'm just, oh shit, she definitely got that Burger King
Actually,
Wi-Fi.
real quick, before she hops back in, because she actually put me onto a good point. We also did have that in Canada, the Indigenous population and the Black population, because we have one up here too. Did that in Canada as well. There's a really good book if anybody's interested in reading it, and it came out of one of the universities here. It's called Colored Coding. And essentially, because Canada was one of the first places to start differentiating people in census by their color, because we had so many, and because we had census so early, we had like R for red, Y for yellow, B for black, whatever, right? And it's a really good read on the history of both white passing and white presenting. Yeah, I'm not a woman of color because white's a shade, yo. No, that's like, but that's when we talk about it, that's what she was trying to say. Like when we talk about it, when I say I'm white presenting in Canada, it's to give respect to my cousins and family members who are dark. You know what I mean? Because we have the same intergenerational trauma, but we do not live the same existence. So for us, it's about putting respect on our darker family who have to walk through the world like that. Does that make sense? It's not really like that we're claiming that because we want to be white. It's not about a proximity to whiteness. It's about understanding that because of this cultural genocide, we have a privilege that our cousins don't have. Like I have a cousin, a full cousin, who is fully brown. And when she walks out of the house, she's going to experience a different existence than I am, even though we have the same generational trauma and the same family, right? So in Canada, it's more of a respecting from the Indigenous community when we say that, because we see a lot of reconnecting Natives and white Natives taking up spaces that brown women could be in because there's very few of them, speaking on culture and speaking on tradition and speaking on things like that. And there's a respect level for a lot of us where we know our place within the community, and it is very much to the side of the elders and traditional teachings and stuff like that, because it's not our place to do that.
Okay. All right.
That's what we tried to explain. That's what we tried to explain and got yelled at and cut over. So we're frustrated because that's our identity. And then there was another woman who kept telling us that we should only be Indigenous. And I was like, okay, but like my father's Jewish and I love that side of my family too. So if I'm going to just turn away from who I am like that, what are you going to ask an Afro-Indigenous person to pick one? Don't ask us to pick one. We are who we are and we'll identify in a certain way. It's important for us to explain why we identify that way so we're not causing harm in other communities, but it is different. It's different in Australia. It's different globally.
Okay, I see what she's saying. She's saying she is Indigenous/Native, but she realized that she has white privilege.
Shitloads.
God.
Shitloads of it, all of it.
God. Why didn't you just say that?
I don't know, because I'm concerned about what is safe to say in American race politics versus Canada at this point.
The most circular way, like she went a whole circle. I'm like, where is this going?
I'm nervous, man. Like, I don't even, it's landmines. It's okay.
I get it. Landmines. She's saying that she is an Indigenous woman. She just knows and acknowledges that she has white privilege. That's what she's saying. Because, sis, I'm like confused. I'm like you reading like 4 different chapters of the Bible and mashing them at once. And I just got confused real quick. Like we went from Noah's Ark to the burning bushes that talk to people. I was getting confused. I'm not going to lie to you, Anna. I was a little lost in the sauce. But I get what you're saying now. You hear me, Anna? Anna? Oh, not so. The Canadian Wi-Fi going out. What's up with everyone's Burger King Wi-Fi, man? only me. I know you better not have that Taco Bell Wi-Fi.
Oh no.
I was about to say, Karen, you got a blue check mark. If I find out you got that Wendy's Wi-Fi, I'm clowning.
We're good over here. Good over here.
Wendy's
Wi-Fi. No, I'm just listening.
Can we hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Like yes. I'm so confused.
Maple syrup Wi-Fi is not hitting, sis. Like, what?
You hear me? Okay. Okay, yeah, it sucks. It's so bad. I'm in Vancouver. Like, there's no reason for this. But no, we had a Sami man in that live that night as well. Now, if you know anything about the Sami people, they're the indigenous people of northern Scandinavia. They are genetically just as indigenous as we are, but they are white as snow, literally. They have blonde hair, blue eyes, you name it, but they are fully indigenous people. And the comments that Nugs and a bunch of other people in there had made to this Sami man about enjoying his reconnection to white privilege or white whatever, when he had went up there and tried to explain what white presenting means to Sami people. And then in the live yesterday, this was my favorite, when they all sat around and like tried to decide what we should call ourselves. And I was like, for the first time in 500 years, could we maybe decide what we call ourselves? Because even when that woman was speaking on Navajo people, she used Navajo. Like, you don't even know the names we call ourselves. You're going by colonizer names already and then telling us what we should call ourselves instead. And it's like, you could just learn our stuff or just leave us out of it. Leave us alone works too. We've been asking that for like half a century. But that's it. I'm done. Sorry. I just went off topic there.
Okay. Go ahead on, Karen. Anything else you want to say before
but
only
thank
me?
Thank you for having us up.
You're welcome, baby. You're welcome. Absolutely. Listen,
I was gonna hop down and leave some space.
Okay, baby. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Honestly, I think there's just a lot of hurt and misunderstanding from a lot of people, and it's coming off anti-native, anti-black, and it's just, we are all fighting the same battle, which is trying to be recognized and trying to reclaim our space. Especially here in America, Native people are trying to reclaim their space. And unfortunately, what this brought out was a lot of, yes, and anti-mix. What this brought out was a lot of just ignorance to us all, that we all have, that we all don't realize. There's conversations that needed to have, but we didn't realize it. It is a lot of misunderstanding that is coming off with a lot of us getting in our own colonizer mindset. As she said, there should not be anyone having a conversation about what natives should call themselves, if they're white presenting, if they even, or what white path, however you want to say. That is not any of our business to have that kind of conversation. And that being said, we can't control every single person who gets on this app and does a live and starts doing, anybody can start a live and go, well, I think indigenous people should do this. I think black people should. We, just like they can't, we can't. What we can do, though, is hold space and have conversations like we are now, in correcting past issues, and still observing and knowing that there is still a main problem here that this started from, and that problem is still presenting itself, and just doing it in a quiet nature.
I agree with that comment that I just saw. We cannot, us as black people, we cannot sit here and tell Native American people or indigenous people how to or what to identify as. That's not our place. It's not. If they say they indigenous, they indigenous. I'm not going to sit here and have somebody feel like they got to prove themselves to me. I'm not Blaze. I'm not any of these cornballs that hop on this app and be like, you're white because you're not as dark as me, so you're white. Y'all know goddamn well, I'm going to say this in 4K, and Carnival Gal probably is going to agree with me. My nigga, y'all was not sitting here calling people who are Latino, indigenous, or anyone who is not brown or dark skinned that they are white. You would not say it to a Latin King's face. You wouldn't say it to somebody who's in an MS-13 to their face that they white. Because you know what the fuck would happen to you. Y'all got to stop hopping on this app with this new white passing bullshit just because it's on TikTok and it's trendy. It's corny as hell. If they are a person of color, they are a person of color. If their mama is white, or their mama is black, or their daddy's white, or their daddy's black, if they are black, they are black. I'm tired of this
My
shit.
thing is, why can't they be non-black and be racist? Like, if they're being racist to you, why can't you just be non-black and be racist? Why do they have to be white?
I'm sorry, Carnival Guy. I don't mean to interrupt. The same niggas that hop on this app talking about, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, this person's white. Same nigga that was bumping that Big Pun CD from 1998 when he was saying the N-word like crazy. And y'all wasn't checking him in the Bronx because y'all niggas knew better. I'm sorry. This got to be said. This got to be said. And that's a whole different topic and a whole different conversation I'm willing to have later on in another live. But I'm tired of this shit. Oh, y'all really up on here calling just anybody white? Like it's corny.
And they want to pretend they've been doing it. They want to pretend that it's been going on. You just came up with this a couple years ago. Y'all just came up with this shit. Y'all just came up with telling biracial black people that they're not black. Y'all just came up with that.
You can't pick and choose just by the basis of what you think somebody, what you want to. I didn't even like with the Sami people, like, I think it was Four Leaves. They made it that was in my live earlier. They had mentioned Frozen, and I was like, "What do you like?" You know, the movie Frozen 2, which they said that had a little bit of a connection to that, for a little bit of representation. I had no idea. I actually had to look at Frozen 2 because I've watched it like a million times. I knew that they had like referenced a native, tribe. I didn't pay it attention. And then I Google Sami people, and and I had no idea that there were even people who were who are native and look this way because they're native to that area. So there are things that you just don't know if you're not being educated on it. And so we have to be open-minded and we have to be willing to listen. And unfortunately, when Nuggets had their live, it just wasn't enough opportunity for people for that person as a host to control the live. One of the things you can't do in a heated space like that is get up, walk away, do all of that, dance around. I don't know what they were doing, but not being able to properly turn off comments when needed, operate and say and check people as you go through, like you're doing now, Pat. Before checking people and saying, "Hey, this is not the tone. This is not the move. This is not the move." So, that's what you get.
Karen, I didn't mean to cut you off, but doing that whole live, she should have cut off all her comments if you gonna do all of that. But my thing is about it is when she tried to apologize to you and then she came back on, she said it was her ego. That's not an ego thing to me. How I feel is that you're white, and when it comes between a black woman and two black women going into it, no white person or any kind of person should get in between that. That black person need to come together and say, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong. But if y'all together, yeah, y'all on the live, that live in, check her about it, or you check him about it. But far as like she said, that she did it as her ego. That's your ego. But as a black person saying, no white person shouldn't get between no black woman. Period. Point blank. That's me.
Yeah, and like I said, when you as someone's partner, if you are in a interracial relationship, you're in an interracial relationship, no matter what type of relationship that is, you should not be in a space that you cannot invite yourself to a space, sit there, and then when it's uncomfortable for you and you have to be addressed and held accountable, you go and say, oh, well, you know what? I can't because actually, technically, I'm not supposed to be here. Technically, I'm not supposed to hold myself accountable because of whatever. I want to show you guys because, in that live that I had, I asked Nuggets, and it's like she's constantly flopping her story depending on who's asking her the question. And that's my problem. It's like you tell one person something else and then you flip flop into another thing. At the end of the day, Nuggets participated, and when her girlfriend and just admit you were doing it because you want to please your girlfriend. Your girlfriend was bashing me, and therefore another person was bashing me, and you took part of it because you want to please your girlfriend. You don't care about the fact that I was black. Just say the fact that you're saying now you don't want to get in between of two black women. You're doing it now because you don't want to be held accountable. So yes, I knew your apologies. You say that I'm not intelligent, but I called your bullshit apology out as soon as I heard it. So if I'm not that intelligent, then I guess I wouldn't have called that out for what it was. So don't come for my intelligence and then try to treat me like a child. You got in this space, you be kikiing with your girlfriend about black issues, and you know you do. So you need to come take this L, okay, to the front. Come take the L and just eat the L, man. What I don't appreciate is people act like people be getting on these lives and y'all be acting like we don't see them, like people don't screen record, and then you want to feign surprise. When I said to you, Nuggets, Nuggets, you were in that live. When did Nuggets come up to apologize? After I showed her in Ray's live. After I showed her, she gave me the bullshit apology, and then when I showed her how she sat there in the live, just laying down in bed listening, then she want to go, yeah, you're right, I only did it because of my ego. No, you only did it because you didn't want to get called out. Part of that might be ego. Part of that just shows that you're just BSing as much as anybody else on this platform, and I'm not here.
I'm sorry, I mean to interrupt. Aunt Karen, I hate you for that. That report to the.
Report to the front. I want to make a shirt that says report to the front.
Have with that slogan, that report to the front. Do you know how legendary it can be if you were actually doing the right thing? Mm-hmm. You could make it big, bro. If you did the report to the front and did that to white supremacists, my boy, your merch would sell out of fucking. It would sell out. Mm-hmm. If you just did the right thing for once, bro. I want him to hear me, and I have no. Listen, I hate him, but I want to see another black man succeed, no matter what. That's just the type of nigga I am. Bro, this report to the front shit is legendary, bro. Mm-hmm. If you use it right. I know I'm using legendary and blaze in the same sentence. I want to throw up, but it's just true. If you got Aunt Karen with almost 2 million followers saying this shit, my nigga, you need to put it on a shirt. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Carnival.
With the church finger.
Okay. So first of all, I just want to come in here and say I was in Nuggets live yes, I'm ashamed. I was in there for a long time. I got a large chunk of it. I that's not my YouTube, but the YouTube channel that it is on has almost all of the parts on it. You can go through it. Every interaction that was discussed on this live, the live previously, and other lives on this app, all of them are on that channel. So you click the channel from the link in my bio. I also have your GoFundMe in my bio, Pat, because I just wanted to promote it. And
please continue to promote it, guys.
Yes, Patrick's GoFundMe, and then the one that's tagged the live stream is the live stream. The YouTube's name is Random Ren, but you probably won't be able to find it. Consciously, you sure did. You missed a lot.
Consciously, a lot of tea.
Right. But yeah, it's on. Just click my bio, click my link tree, click the live stream. You'll see the first video and then go into the channel. That's where you'll find all the evidence of the live. You can see everything for yourself objectively. Do not let people get in your ear. Watch everything for yourself before you form an opinion, because there's a lot of people caping for people just because they're their friends right now and not being honest about what happened. And I'm not going to lie.
Period.
Thank you.
I'm going to get down, Pat, because I'm at work and I had to step outside to say what I had to say, because it's like bullshit that's going on between that whole live. Just stay out of it if you don't want to get caught in your lives. That's all I gotta say.
Period.
Absolutely.
All right,
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Guys, hold on. Guys, moderators, if you're hearing me, Lord Jaco needs to be blocked expeditiously. Now, I don't know if you see him. We don't see him. The moderators are trying to find him. If anyone can find him, please block him immediately.
But
why? He said why? I'm gonna tell you why. Suck my dick. That's why. The fuck out my life, nigga. You're a fucking pedophile. Fuck is you talking about, nigga? You think I'm gonna sit here and host a live with pedophiles in my presence, you bitch ass nigga? Fuck you and die slow, nigga. Fuck
you don't have to explain that.
Fuck you, nigga. How many terabytes of kid porn you got in your shit, nigga? Fuck you. Die slow, nigga. Anyway, any indigenous voices that I want to add indigenous people in here. Anyone Afro-Indigenous specifically, I would like to add you in here. Yeah, consciously, I said what I said, nigga. I don't give a fuck about being canceled. I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say, however the fuck I want to say it. That nigga can die slow, expeditiously.
I want to play a clip from the live that I had, so y'all can see what I was talking about when I realized that how she be lying. So let me go ahead.
My live essentially
whiteness is a disease got, taken over. And, how dare you not let us speak when everyone was there. And Itty Bitty also had the opportunity, but their request timed out. But then they didn't want to come back, I think, after Lance said, this is not an international indigenous people's discussion. Which is what Ray was saying. Lance already said, hold on, what was said about indigenous Canadians? It was only about the American experience. And Lance said that, but it just, and I said it this morning, what could I add as an American to an Aboriginal indigenous conversation in Australia as a white person, it was just that it was a conversation that I think needed to be had. I facilitated it, unknowingly. And it is very unfortunate the amount of trauma that was exposed from that, and especially the anti-Blackness that happened in that line.
I feel like, me personally, if Lance truly wanted to have the conversation, then why not jump? And he knows you are a white person, right? So why hop in your live and have any discussion that is about indigenous? If he cared any bit about any blowback that may hit your way or hit anybody's way, me personally, I don't see why he wouldn't get on his own live and hold that. He's gotten on his live before, and I'm not asking you because I think you know the answer. I'm just saying it just doesn't make sense to me. And even though your live turned into that and it became that, there are people who are saying as soon as Itty Bitty wanted to jump in, Lance had said, no, don't let her on or something like that. And so thus she was not let on to the live. Is that, I don't know if that's true or not.
She was, but when somebody joins and it goes to a blue box and then it times out, that's what happened to Itty Bitty. And I had to stop the live several times and said, first of all, this is not an exclusive Indigenous people conversation or space. I said, I understand that the Indigenous community is obviously has some trauma.
Julie's got banned for
understand what? I'm not in any way invalidating any trauma, nor am I going to stand in the way of saying oh yeah, that is no. I understand if the Indigenous community worldwide was affected. I understand if you have trauma from it, by all means. But I do find it strange to come to a white woman's space to air your grievances about your community. That is strange to me. But
I think maybe because he didn't. I think because he didn't hold a live. I mean, I don't know the last time that Lance was live, but I don't think he's been live since he made that statement. Thus, the only way that people can go, when you see someone is live and you follow them, you go. You don't know if they're sometimes you kind of do. If they're hosting a live, if they're co-hosting or whatever. So it seemed like to me, people flocked and was there because he flocked and he was there. So thus he made it a safe space, in their opinion, to talk about the Indigenous issue.
Okay.
Go ahead.
On Karen, pause that real quick. Lady Rose, let me step you down real fast because Rabbi Chana, only has 20 minutes to speak before she got to go back. So can I please step you down real quick and let her speak, and then I'm gonna add you back, Lady Rose. Okay.
Okay.
All right, baby. Yeah, I didn't know she was in the time limit. My fault. Rabbi Chana. I'm butchering her fucking name. I feel like. Did I butcher your name, love?
You really did. It's Rabbi Chana.
Oh.
It's okay.
I dropped out.
It's okay, Pat.
Oh.
No one ever gets Hana. They always say Chana, so it's cool. Hi, Karen. So the only thing that I want, my elder is Mama Bird. I'm Wajaje Osage. And so she encouraged me to talk about the interaction I had with Nuggets. She was in my live a couple weeks ago when the thing with muscles and nursing happened. And we were kind of discussing what was going on. And I talked about how the intersection with being Jewish and indigenous and queer. And Nuggets was like, how are you indigenous? I was like, well, I'm Mexican, Chilean, El Salvadorian, and Osage. And she said, oh, were you adopted? No, I was born Mexican, Osage, Chilean, El Salvadorian. But I'm mixed. Yeah, my father is a white man, and my mother is full Latin and First Nations, and I handled it because I'm a rabbi. That's my job, is to try and meet people where they are, and so I handled it as much as I could. But yeah, it affected me to think that here's this whole ass white woman who thought it was okay to question whether or not I'm a real Indigenous person. Like I don't have that in my everyday life. So I think that Nuggets has got some work to do, like about their own internal biases, especially when it comes to like indigeneity. We don't all look alike. And I think what happens is people assume that every Indigenous person looks like someone they saw on like Dances with Wolves, or that they think that we all look like the same color, or we all present the same way, or that we all have the same lived experiences when we don't. And it was frustrating, but for me, it was just a Tuesday. It's like not even the first day of that week where I walk around and having somebody ask me whether or not I'm Indigenous enough, or whether or not I'm Jewish enough, or whether or not I'm, but I haven't kept up too much with what was going on with Lance and everything, because it just makes me sad. And Lance has already had issues with the Jewish community, and so I try not to have anything to do with Lance, just because he's been problematic, especially to Indigenous Jews. So I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with you. But I did have it was just an interaction that made me realize that, white people have a long way to go when they're working on their internal biases towards what Indigenous, what Black, what mixed looks like, or what we should look like. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
she's definitely okay. She's been waiting for an hour. I'm sorry. Go ahead. XOJ Mitch.
Speaking of hello, sweetheart, how are you?
Hi, good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to be super quick. I essentially just wanted to add on to what Anna had said earlier about white presenting Indigenous people, as I am one myself as well. I think what a lot of people forget to include is that it's often used in my defense, calling myself that. So when someone says, "Oh, you're white," no, I'm white presenting. It's leaving that space for something else. So it is also used as a term of acknowledging your ability to walk through life in an easier sense than our darker skinned relatives. But at the same time, it's also, very, very often used as a defense. I'm not white. Yeah. I'm white passing.
See, and I've never personally in my life, I haven't used that. I use that there are instances where I obtain conditional privilege, but in my everyday life, it's not very often. Like, obviously, I'm on this app and people see me a certain way and they think, oh, well, you're white passing, but you aren't in my life every day where I got people screaming at me to go back to my own country. And I can't walk out a store unless I have one of my very white sons with me without somebody following me around. So I don't have the experience of being someone who's white passing or even white presenting. There are just instances where I might have conditional privilege right up until I don't. And so I just never and I don't discount anyone who in any way, shape, or form claims that as their personal identity. It's just never been my experience. My experience is wholly told me I'm othered. And even within my own communities, I'm othered because I'm not white enough. I'm not brown enough. So I'm like ostracized on both sides.
Yeah. Another new term I recently learned was white assumed, which I like that one as well. I'm only assumed white.
I'm going to look into that one. I like that one. you know, I actually, in terms with Nuggets, I don't follow Nuggets. I haven't in a long time. And just because I appreciate white activism, I appreciate anti-racist work, and I appreciate the people who put the hard work in to do it. But I don't feel always necessarily that it's done with a sense of humility and a sense of actually wanting to be present in the work as much as it's look how good I've done. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time for that. Like, I want people who are going to do the work and not be afraid to be told, you know what, you messed up, and not have it turn into what all of this has turned into. If I can't, as a human being, be told, hey, you messed up and it's time to take responsibility, and I can't humble myself, then I'm not actually ready to pursue the work and unpack my own shit. I'm still relying on the conditions in which my life has presented me to get out of being held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say, I see that Ali, I think it's Alejandra, and forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong, but I know that you were in the live with Ray. You've been making a lot of comments towards me, and you have enough followers. Do you just want to send a request so you can talk to me? Because, well, I just don't like when people who have enough followers can get on live but say negative stuff. So if you have something to say, I would definitely like to hear it, and I'd like you to, send in a request.
And I've had a couple of friends in here who are like really proud of me for being on this live, but I'm like, me and Pat have been mutuals for a hot minute. I just haven't. I usually lurk in his lives, and I'm like, because I'm a rabbi, but I like my tea, so occasionally I'm like, get him, Pat, get him.
If you guys want, somebody asked if I could finish the video. Give me a second. So, and
I'm going to step out because I have a doctor's appointment to attend. But I just want to make it clear, I don't discuss Nuggets. I don't think she's a bad person. I just think that she needs to work a little more on checking her own internalized bias on what she perceives as someone who is a person of color versus someone who isn't. And hopefully she continues to work on that, which is what we ask of anybody. All right. Loves, thank you very much for the time spent with me.
Bye, Rabbi.
For those of you who are interested, you can definitely go check out the live there. It's right on my YouTube channel. I don't want to take up. Okay. I don't want to take up. Pat, can you let up Alejandra? She wanted to say something.
What's your name?
Alejandra, I think it is. And you have to forgive me if I'm saying it wrong.
I see Leisha Supreme. I know Pink Lash wanted to come on because she's an Afro-Indigenous woman.
Yeah.
Lady Rose let back in. I don't see the username.
And I did also want to point out there is someone in your comments here with a slur as their username to the Indigenous, specifically the Inuit community.
Wait, what's the username? Oh, you can't repeat it because it's a slur. Let me try to catch it.
Well, I mean, I can say it. It's a slur to my people.
All right, go ahead.
It's Eskimo.
Whoa.
And I pointed it out, and they said, "You don't know my story."
Okay. Wherever you hear that, wherever you see that username, moderators, I'm not repeating that, but you heard what she said. Block it and mute it immediately. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to hop down.
Okay.
But thank you for that.
Leisha, I just tried to add you, and then it just, I don't know what the hell just happened.
Hey, how are you?
How are you, love?
Good. So I am actually Arawak. I am, also known as Taino. So we do have African lineage, parts of us, some of us. So I was saying before, leading up to what Anna was saying, is that yes, I thank you guys first off for allowing us to have the platform to talk. I appreciate you so much. And I just feel like with Lance, I went into Ray, I believe their name was. Um, yes, shout out to the Tainos. Yes, so I went into Ray's live, and I had made a comment that I felt he was using. I don't know the lady's name, the one that he's talking to. You know, listen.